Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tech Down Over, where two geeky guys share their geeky passions with all of you. Here we go.
Spend a lot of money.
And spend a lot of money. Tech Down Over. Here we go. Jeff, how are you today?
Good, thanks, Rick. Another busy week at work with keep me busy with technology and all these different things that's changing around the place. And yourself?
About the same. It's been one long week, and actually today is my birthday. And
happy birthday!
Thank you much. I'll rub that into Larry next time. And a friend that I think you know too, Meg Bertapel. That was her birthday too today.
Oh, okay.
So happy birthday, Meg, and I'm right there with you. Anyway, today we had Larry Jordan on, but as you can tell, he's not on because he couldn't make it. He got stuck on something he was doing, and he will be back on the show next week. So we look forward to seeing Larry next week. Let's talk about something that's out there right now, and it's getting popularity, and that is Skype TX. Now, Skype TX is Skype for professional broadcasting and media. It's not really Skype by itself. It's a Skype hardware and software solution, because with it you get a compressor, limiter, and gate. So it comes with audio. It has an SDI output. Now, for all of those who are not familiar with SDI, it is called Serial Digital Interface, and it's like a mini coax, the kind that you would see in your TV connections to a cable box or any kind of satellite. So a mini coax, it's a little bit smaller, but SDI can transmit over very long distances. So it's a very clean, tight signal. Usually it's much better than an HDMI kind of signal. Now, my camera angle right now, or my camera shot right now, is being brought into the show through SDI. In our computer, we have Blackmagic Design, what's it called? The Duolink, no.
Intensity Pro.
No, not the Intensity. We've got two of those too.
Oh.
The quad, it's a Duo. Decklink Duo. Sorry, it's been a long day. The Decklink Duo is a double SDI input, and if we get more cameras into here, then we'll probably get the quad. The Decklink Quad, or the Ultra Studio Pro, whatever it's called, that one will allow 4 SDI inputs and outputs. This allows 2 inputs and 2 SDI outputs. Very clean signals. Now, we also have converters, so we could go from HDMI into SDI through a Blackmagic converter. We have several of those. And they, again, do a pretty good job converting signal from one to another. And you don't lose quality. You get very good quality from them. So Skype TX combines the hardware solution, which is your audio and your really high quality output, with Skype, which everybody goes, Skype? I mean, you're kidding, that's high quality. But it can be. You can make it better. And I think they do a couple of things to tweak Skype to make it look a little bit better. But unfortunately, it is only a hardware solution. Now, we already do that. I'm touching, you can't see me right now, but to my right, I have 2 Mac Minis. I have a whole audio rack next to me. There are 2 Mac Minis on top of it. That's what Jeff is on, the co-host one, and then we have a guest one. We could add more Mac Minis if we wanted to, but right now we only need 2 on this particular setup. Underneath that we have 3, count them, 3 compressors, limiters, and gates. That's all one unit. They're PreSonus Studio channels. So each one of them does compression, limiting, and gating of audio. So what that does is it makes the sound, even out of Skype, sound clean. Now mine is coming directly from the microphone into the PreSonus Studio channel into the mixer. Jeff's voice is coming through his interface and everything into our Skype, from the Skype into the PreSonus Studio channel into the mixer. And from the mixer, we're going via FireWire into the computer, which is down there below me. And that is a pretty large video workstation, big Cooler Master case, and it looks cool. It's a white case. It's what they call a striker case from Cooler Master. Looks like one of those Star Wars bad guy soldiers. Kind of cool.
The stormtrooper.
Stormtroopers, that's it. And that's why they call it the Striker. Anyway, it's pretty cool. So we have already that kind of setup. But the only thing we don't have is the Skype Advantage, maybe, because I don't think there's much of a difference in quality from what I've seen. It all really depends on what the person on the other hand or on the other end has as far as Skype. I mean, look, if you have a crappy camera, a crappy microphone, no lighting, you're going to look like something kind of crappy. And it doesn't matter what kind of professional Skype solution you have because you're still going to look lousy. So this is pretty much probably as good as it'll get with the same kind of situation. And it's $4,000 per single user.
So, it's Rick, is that different to that new tech talk show piece of equipment? Is this that?
It is, and that's a $4,000 piece of equipment, which is basically the audio compression and the audio, the SDI output, and one Skype session. So that seems very expensive for one Skype session.
But I suppose it may be aimed at broadcast
it
TV,
is.
And for $4,000, if you can get a guaranteed, pretty much great signal for your host not cracking up, that'd be far cheaper than
that's
a crew
pretty
going
good.
out there to do that. So
and one of the ways they structure it is they ideally want to have one talk show connected to another one, so you have a little more control. But I still maintain, if you don't have a good studio, if you're calling guests in the wild that have nothing good, they're not going to look any better than what we have right now. And ideally, we come and go. Sometimes we have guests with really good backgrounds. Sometimes we have guests that have awful lighting and awful audio. And, at that point, what do? You just put up a picture, maybe. But it does some interesting things. For example, if the bandwidth drops in the middle of a show, it replaces the image, the video, with a nice image of you.
Ah, that's
So
good.
that's
right
yeah, and I'm not sure real Skype does that anymore. It might, because I have seen Skype go away, but it doesn't look like a high quality digital image. So this gives you a better digital image. I'm not sure why Microsoft only went for the high end. I would gladly pay several hundred or more a year just to have a better version of Skype than the.
Well, it's one of those things, though, Rick. You said it's at $4,000 a pop now, but if it becomes popular, it might be one of those things that become $400 a pop in the next 2 to 3 years.
Maybe,
with
but
technology.
I don't think so, because the minute you say video and you say broadcasting, you're paying through the teeth.
Because I know even now with the. I take a lot of time and try to make the shot look good, but still sometimes the bandwidth, you still look lousy. You've got a good microphone, you've got a good camera.
Yeah, but your audio is always good.
But you try and try. So that's the sort of thing is, and annoys me sometimes when you see some people on Skype and doing interviews, they've taken no time whatsoever and they get a perfect shot.
I know, it's funny. Now, what mic are you on today?
I'm on the Rode Procaster.
The Procaster, same as here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I like that because it tends not to pick up too much noise outside.
This is a very good mic.
I'm loving it. I just do like it that it just doesn't pick up everything else. But,
Yeah, it's actually one of our cheapest mics, and for $220, you get a darn good microphone.
It's like everything. It's nice and heavy, and you think you've got something really powerful when you see how.
Well,
like
no, but also it really handles voice well, especially then, like you said, it cuts out noise. It has very good voice articulation on it, so it's clean. I'm very pleased with it. Yeah, you could use a nice condenser mic, and we almost did. In fact, on the show, I was going to put this one on today. This is my old. I ran the show for. I ran for about.
Yes.
This is the Rode. Sorry, here we go. The Rode Broadcaster.
Broadcaster.
This is a great mic. Now, this mic is probably 9 years old, or maybe 10 already. And it still works beautifully. I have two of them. This is one of them. They used to cost about $500. Now I think they're down to about $390 or $350. They're really good. They're not as popular as they used to be. At least I don't hear about them much, but very good microphone, and it sounds clean.
I saw with interest, I saw Bill DeWeese in one of his videos. I haven't watched it, but just saw with interest he didn't have his Neumann. He had something different.
Oh, interesting, because he's always got the Neumann, right?
Yeah, it looked like one of this Procaster. It wasn't a Procaster, but that sort of style of mic. But it was the one that he was speaking into from the side.
I wonder if he had a high. Well, no, the Heil PR40's up front. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Heil's pretty much like this one. It's probably identical style.
Could have been an electro voice, unless he had a condenser on.
Yeah, but it just looked. I would have to listen, but it was just strange because that's sort of his signature thing. You see the Neumann there, and you're just used to that. So
yeah, and we're talking about Bill DeWeese, who has a very good podcast on becoming a voiceover talent.
And he gives such a lot back to the community, showing what he's been through and that. But what I still love, I just dream I'd love to have my little room like he has, a proper sealed room that's air conditioned with his monitor in it, so you can just shut yourself away from the world, and no matter where you sit, the sound is perfect.
Well, you saw the show we did on eMedia Chat with Matt Baker, and he has this little, what is it, orange or purple or pink, I forgot. He has this really cool studio he built that he opens his door, locks himself in, and plays all day. He has a Neumann TLM 102, and I forgot what his bigger one. It might be a bigger Neumann.
He said two Neumanns.
Two Neumanns,
to remember.
Neumanns are not bad to have. They're good, but you need a clean studio. So.
And that's the thing is you can design, like even here, I could design myself a whole room to shut myself in and be perfect. But if it gets warm or cold, you're stuffed. You need heating and cooling, or else because when you're in there for a few hours, it can get down.
Gets hot.
Even on the coldest of days, when you've got just shut in there for an hour doing a session, it can get quite warm.
But they do have fans, and they do have quiet AC systems that you could put into these things. That could help.
Yeah, and it's just more so those ones where you probably just have the vent in, like where you have the vent, not the actual unit making a lot of noise.
Right.
But once you get used to it, I suppose if it's a constant noise, like I always do, I put the air conditioning on, but always make sure it's there well before, so it's cooled down, and it's just going minimal just to keep it nice and cool, to keep the background noise down.
Yep. Now, last week we talked about Windows 10, and we talked about the HoloLens. And I've been doing more research on it, and the HoloLens looks pretty amazing. I think the key there is that they may create a whole new market. So if you're in the mood to develop new applications, they have a thing out or coming out called Holo Studio, and it will allow you to create hologram-based applications that are completely and totally interactive. That could be very exciting. Can you imagine training, e-learning, and other things done with something like that, or even support, customer support? They could really revolutionize the industry in a lot of ways.
Well, I mean, the big thing is in most things where you need to help people are too scared to let you into their system. But if you could Skype somebody and where you're looking at, that they can just see where you're looking at, leave it on a computer screen. They could point to somewhere without getting into your actual system. And like they were showing there, a workman saying, hey, just go round there and tighten this nut. That's where I think it's going to be fantastic. And as you said, for the support, you could somebody could phone you up. You could even help them with a computer issue, with them looking at you looking at the screen without actually getting in their system.
Sure.
Because I have that problem where people say, you can log into their systems and have a look. I said, yeah, but no matter who you are, if anybody phones me up and say they want to help me and log into my machine, no. I don't care how much they're going to help you. You're very reluctant to let anybody in, even somebody you trust. You say, well, they might be okay, but they might not get in the right way, and let somebody else in.
Now, in other news, Radio Shack. Do you have Radio Shack in Australia?
Well, they disappeared. They used to be called Tandy. I don't know.
Oh, Tandy, yes.
That's what Radio Shack was, but then they sort of disappeared and got bought out by a company called Dick Smith.
Oh, interesting.
He was a wealthy millionaire here, a fellow called Dick Smith, who was a tech geek, and he loved all these things, and he had plenty of money, and he just did it. So he bought something like the Radio Shack, called it Dick Smith. So now it's a bit like a Best Buy. It's called Dick Smith Electronics.
Interesting.
But most of the those ones, the Tandy, there's still some sort of remnants of that. But the way technology going, it used to have a lot of those. And I used to love going into the Tandy and like the Radio Shack. And I don't know if you had it there, but here you used to have, you go in once a month and they'd give you a battery for free.
Oh, right,
to get
right.
you in, to get you in. And as a kid, I get if I get 2 free batteries. And it was a way that got all the kids in, and you didn't just get a free battery. You always made mum and dad buy you all these other things.
Right. Well, unfortunately, no kid will have that battery again because
gone
Radio
totally.
Shack is going out of business. They're closing, I think, 2,400 stores in the U.S. They're gone. They finally filed for bankruptcy, and it's over. So I don't know if somebody will buy them or what, and they were fun. They were fun stores, but they can't compete with the big superstores. And I guess people just don't do a lot of do-it-yourself stuff anymore like that.
Well, remember what was it? Was they had the first sort of computer? Was it the TRX?
The Trash 80.
Yeah.
Everybody called it affectionately the Trash 80, TRS 80.
But I was, that, and then they had an all-in-one unit, which that's fantastic, with a black and white screen. But they were in that time the leaders sort of in that.
I remember as a kid, I went to Radio Shack, bought a radio to make, and built my first radio. It was so much fun. It was like $5 to build a radio. It sounded crummy, but hey, you built it. It was really cool. And then I think I built my first record player. They actually had this record player thing you could build. It was really fun. Of course, I was a kid back then, but they had all those little Heathkit and Radio Shack toys that you could build. They were fun. But no, that's going away, unfortunately.
And it's the thing. Like I suppose it's the internet in a lot of ways. But sometimes I don't have a lot of sympathy for a lot of the companies. I've bought a few things myself, and I like to support a local company to do it. And like just with the things I've done, I wanted to buy this little intervalometer for my Canon camera ages ago, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I went into all the camera shops and I said, I want one of these. Don't keep that. You better go on the internet to buy it. And I thought, well, they're just pushing themselves out of business. But I got on the internet and I found that what I wanted, and it was $25.95. They'd post it to me directly from that. If you bought 50 of them, it'd bring it down to $15. And so these camera shops could have bought 50 of them, put them on the shop, and I saw one shop had exactly the same thing I had with a name on it. I won't mention the name, but it was $249, and I'd spent $25. So when they say they are going out of business, it's not all just market forces. No. It's sometimes a strange decision that they've made somewhere along the line.
It is.
But, now, I always try to shop locally if I can, and like with my camera. It's an expensive thing. I bought all my cameras locally and kept the local businesses going.
Yep. No, it's true. You know what? It's too expensive to carry all the inventory nowadays. I think B&H is the only company in the world that carries everything.
That's right. And you've got to have a lot of money in there, which was interesting. I was just listening to before this show was, I think it was Apple was saying about $2,565 profit they make every second. That in the last three quarters have made some outrageous amount.
Well, that's because they overcharge up the yin yang for everything they make too. I mean, let's be honest. That beautiful looking iMac is not worth the money they charge. You're paying for industrial design, and the components you can buy anywhere else for a lot cheaper. But they're nice. They look nice. I give them credit for that, but they're way overcharging for it.
But as I said, they could buy a small country, I think, or overthrow. They've just got that much power at the moment. But unfortunately, not a lot of that money's in the US, and that would help the economy a great deal if it was, wouldn't it?
Though they have started making computers in the US again, so that probably is helping a little bit. I think they did it not because they wanted to, because they were getting slammed for offshoring.
But they're saying now that the problem with some of the things that, with Apple being so successful, some of the other companies, they can't get their things to market because they've gobbled up all the supply of everything. So
though they're not as successful in cell phones like they used to be. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. They still own the iPad market, the tablet market, but there is competition. So time will tell. I think I'm still an Apple lover and hater. I think I like them and I hate them. It's both.
I do
and I have a lot of Apples. I have Apple iMacs. I've got Mac Minis. I've got the iPads, the phone. I have a lot of stuff that's Apple. But I still have a certain dislike for what they do. It's just maybe it's their attitude. I don't know. And I like competition, so I'm glad. Hopefully, the key here is, will Windows 10 be good? Who knows? I hope.
I'm hoping so, and by all looks of it, and now with that, the new Surface and that, I just think that, because I've been hearing a lot of people who are in the Mac world would sort of saying, that Surface, it's not too bad. It offers just that little bit more than maybe a high-end iPad or that, and it's a combination of both. I think I'll give it a try. And that's what I like, that it is a tablet, but it's a proper PC. Like all the other ones are tablets with a keyboard. Whereas that Surface seems to be a PC that's a tablet. It seems to be the other way. I don't know, but it seems to be a bit of a winner. I might even be tempted to get one myself when I get to the time where I need
we have one.
different.
You know, it's not a bad device. It's actually pretty good. It's fast. Now we have the i7 version, so it's pretty quick, but it also cost about $1,400, so it wasn't cheap. But
no, not. But even then, I suppose it's comparable to. The high-end MacBook Air, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you get a powered hub, a USB hub, you can hook up your discs, your DVD drive. You could hook up hard drives. You could hook up all sorts of stuff, and it's powered, so it's not consuming anything off the machine. That's not bad. You can run that stuff and have a full almost PC, a 12.2-inch PC or whatever it is. Not bad.
And these days, with a lot of the software we're using, they go from Mac to PC, so you don't have to think, I won't be able to use this and that on it. You can quite easily get the Windows one again and work away on your favorite projects in both environments. And like you've said before, a lot of things work much more efficient on the Windows side than the Mac. And
they are. They actually still are. And you can run. I mean, real gamers don't play on Macs. They play on real PCs, and these things are fast. They're real fast. I mean, the broadcasting we're doing, you couldn't do on a Mac that well. Not with all the different equipment and gear, and it just we had it on the Mac. It was okay, but it didn't run as well as it does on Windows.
Well, like we were saying on with the one I'm going through now, I'm going through my MacBook Pro, and with it hooked up to the Intensity Pro, it just the fan wears, it gets quite warm.
It gets hot, doesn't it? Yeah.
And that fan just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
You might even be able to hear it through the microphone, but in the iMac, that's not a problem. It doesn't. It's very quiet. Never gets hot and never.
No, but the iMac constrains speed, because by doing that, they don't allow the CPU to get faster than it can. So you never get the full speed of the CPU. It's sort of interesting. You get a constrained CPU because it will not let it go past a certain point. So that's a little bit of a scam when they tell you can do 3.2 or 3.4 or 4.0. You're probably getting 3.6, not 4.
It's a lot of that with a lot of things, and I'm one that gets fooled with that. I always get the highest spec and the highest thing because I'm always scared I'll miss out.
Right.
But I'm not silly. I know, yes, it's got all these advanced features and this speed and that speed, but it depends on how it's going to work. It like we've seen still cameras, an 18 megapixel camera as opposed to a 20 megapixel or a 15. But then you've got something like the iPhone, which has got 8 megapixel. And that does a wonderful job.
Right.
And he just said it's not always what
at certain things.
Are.
At certain things.
Yeah, and it's what how it produces it. It's not all to do with specs, because everybody can have the high-end specs. But I've got used to that lately. I'll say, what does the sound does it give me? What picture does? I'll go for that.
Right.
It's not just
speaking of megapixels and stuff, Samsung just came out with their new camera. I forgot the model number. And sorry, folks, we're not totally prepared because we were expecting a guest today. So anyway, this new Samsung, I think, is a 22 megapixel camera, micro four thirds, shoots 4K now. It's the same one. I think
was an excellent quality one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's the one I returned. I returned it because it wasn't doing 4K, and I decided the new cameras were all doing 4K, so I returned it and got a 4K. But now they're doing 4K too, and it looks really good. It's a good camera.
And that's the thing is now, whether people want 4K or not, you really can't get a camera without it, because you will be left behind. And I don't know about you, it might be a lot of hype and there's not a lot to play it through 4K, but the quality is just in a standard 1080.
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful. It just makes, I just don't know how to explain it. When you just see those crisp,
I know, they look
shots,
great. Yeah.
And they're just fantastic to see. And as you're getting them, the memories are getting cheaper, so you're not worried so much about the storage. So I'm just waiting for the 10 terabyte hard drives to come out for $300.
They will.
I'll be waiting for a while. But
Give them time. Give them time.
but that's what I'm, because then you can go for your life then.
Yeah, and I think I've told you this, but my wife Leslie used to work at a company called Teradata. They were the very first company to come out with a terabyte drive. Parentheses S parentheses drives. It took up I don't know, probably about a 2,000 square foot room, and there were about I don't know how many platters, and that totaled 1 terabyte, and it cost I forgot how many million just for that. And now you can buy even an SD card is now coming out, which is about the size of your thumb, for about $400 or $500.
Well, I was working at Sony when the first memory stick came out for a camera, their first memory stick, and it was their first 1 gigabyte memory stick, and it was $180,000.
Oh gosh!
So that's you can't give them away now, can you?
No.
And I thought, but that's how much it would have cost. It wasn't even on the market then, but I thought, and that's only 14 years ago.
Well, I paid $3,500 for my very first IBM PC, which had 2 floppies and a graphics card, and everything was bought separate. $3,500. Then I got my second IBM PC, $3,500, with a whole. I mean, this was radical, 10 megabyte hard drive.
Oh,
and it was it was that thick. What do we hit? That thick, and it was cool. It made noise and everything. That's how it was, writing, and they were all Seagates.
Well, it's amazing though how different with technology, like you're saying with the computers. My first Mac with a hard drive, a 20 megabyte hard drive, was about $4,000.
Oh, I know.
But then then I bought a Sony video camera, which was, even for the time, it was quite modern. It was a huge camera with a side pack that held the tape.
Yep.
And that cost me about $4,500.
Yeah, that was with the VHS tape, right? No, that was the beta tape.
With the beta tape.
I know.
Now, and as I said, I bought, as we all know, my camera the other week, the Panasonic 4K, for about $3,200.
I know.
And I thought, hang on, that's $3,200. When I bought that other one for about $4,600, I was only probably earning about $90 a week. That took a hell of a long time.
Haven't times changed?
And I thought, and I said, technology, even when we start to think, gee, that's expensive, and well, just think back.
Yeah, and for all you kids in the chat room, we know dinosaurs too.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah. The dinosaurs, but it was how to design headphones for them, though. That's right. So.
That's right. They're just and I have to tell you, do you know why? This is old information, but we do talk tech, and this is not really tech, but it's organic tech. Everybody thinks Tyrannosaurus rexes, T-Rexes, were the meanest, nastiest boogers on earth. But do you know why?
Why?
Their butts itched.
Oh.
And their arms were too short. That is why. And that's why they went extinct from massive butt pain. It's true.
And isn't the budgie the descendant of the T-Rex?
I think so.
No, I think it is. I think that's what the budgie sort of they said the budgie is sort of its closest relative these days is from the T-Rex. I thought, gee, it's come down in the world, hasn't it?
It has. It's just not what it used to be.
It's got a bit of a demotion. So yes, here we are on Tech Down Over talking about dinosaurs and budgies.
Right, because it's all relating to the history of technology.
Well, that's right.
If the T-Rex had preparation H, he would never have had these issues, and he would have been a happy, peaceful kind of guy. But no.
But they were always chasing people, but people were never around then, weren't they?
That's right.
So they're always chasing people, but they said, well, no, there wasn't any people around then. So.
Yeah.
But well, yes, as I said, also last week, apart from the Windows one, I did watch our friend Tom Sinclair had his show, and he's a great guy. He does some funny things, and to do a show there for 40 minutes by himself, I really put it down to him, and it's so entertaining. And his show the other week was 5 tips for an awful broadcast.
Yeah, I saw that. It was funny.
And he just said, now, just for somebody who's turning in, I am only, having a bit of fun. I'm not really serious. This is how to do a good one. It's all, and I just thought how so true it was. But his 5 tips turned into 11.
I know he added value to it.
He did so, but I just think he just gets it down really nicely.
We should probably get him back on again soon.
That's I think so too. And you said not testing.
But you're right. He can sit for hours talking to himself, and the scary part is he responds to himself sometimes. So we have to.
And I've watched him a few because I'm trying to learn a bit more from him because I thought I'd love to do that for an hour. Doing that, but he does it quite well, and it's quite entertaining.
He does. He amuses himself. He laughs. He has a good time.
And the thing is like he said on all of his shows before, he says when you call yourself the streaming idiot, you haven't got a long way to come.
That's funny. He sets the expectations very, very low.
He said, so if I mess up and he faces problems, I'd liked it. He was doing one the other day about lighting, and he says, I'll show you my setup. Oh, Lord, I've got a light.
Yes.
One of his lights had blown. He said, I wondered why I was getting a bit of a shadow on my face.
He only had 2 lights, I think. There was one lower and one higher.
They had a few on there, and they said, make sure new equipment or software, make sure you use new equipment that you've never used before.
That's right. Always do that. Do it on the fly, and you'll enjoy it. Yes, it's.
Yes, yeah. Use bad lighting. Set up your lighting the night before you were recording in the daylight.
Now we are using here in front of me. I've got what brand is this one? An Asus 28-inch 4K TV. I'm sorry, monitor for $549. It's pretty cool. Or it was under $600. This is the Asus, a 28-inch 4K monitor. It's nice. It does ultra high def. Very nice monitor. Real clean.
They do some really good. Asus do some really good quality.
They're
good. Not that expensive, and really, you don't want to be paying a fortune when you know you'll see something else nicer in 6 months' time with the technology. But even then, we've got use for everything. Like if I had another monitor, I'd still definitely have another use for it. Definitely wouldn't go
that's true.
out of sorts. But that's why we're down here. I'm just thinking of transferring my iMac down to here so I don't get as much noise. But just don't know whether I want to be in here to do all my video editing as well. That's the next one. But then again, I'll say it'll be cheaper to cool and heat because it's a smaller room than where I've got it.
That's probably true. Yeah. Well, Jeff, we are at the end of our time. Sorry we didn't have a guest today, but hey, we adapt.
Well, that's right. But we ramble on anyway most days,
true.
so it's a bit more organised ramble.
It's an organized stream of consciousness.
Yes.
And now you know all about T-Rexes, so you will sleep much better tonight.
Next week we've got Larry Jordan joining us for next week. So
we think.
I'll be looking forward to it.
I am going to call him at 2 p.m. next week and say, Larry, you will not miss this one.
That's right. Okay.
Or you'll never work in Hollywood again. Yeah, that's a real famous line in this town. You'll never work in Hollywood again.
Yeah. I never have already. So.
I never have already, so it's okay.
I'm fine.
Well, hey, Jeff, you have a great weekend. And all you people in the chat room, I know there's a lot of you lurking. All you guys in the chat room, sign up. Button up there, button down there. Click them. Click them both. That way you get double credit. And follow us. And remember, we're on video. We're on Vimeo. We're also on YouTube now. So there's no excuse not to watch us.
No, definitely not.
So we will
if you watch on both of them, we get 2 credits for that.
That's right. Yeah, but definitely sign up for both. That way you don't miss anything in case you missed it on one side of your head or the other. Yeah,
that's right.
We're right and left brain, both. Anyway, have a good one, everyone, and we will see you next week on Tech Down Over.
Bye for now.